As always, take a few seconds just to come to lie on your back. Make sure your legs are resting and your shoulders are resting. I mean, of course they're resting, but that they're fairly loose, so you're not like stiff on the floor, but relax to the floor. And then actually, let's do a reference movement. So for a first movement, just lift your right shoulder. Lift your right shoulder off the floor. Just to see how it is. A little bit and see if it goes straight up, or maybe it takes a curve around your chest, or maybe it's like it jumps up a little bit, maybe it doesn't come up at all. See, maybe your shoulder can see what it does, so we can compare later how it's evolved, how it developed, and also do this with your left shoulder. It's just to have like a comparison between left and right. Okay, and then for our first actual thing to do, bring your right hand onto your left shoulder. So in the palm of your right hand you have like this little mold, this little depression, and on your left shoulder you have this it's like a ball. It has an elevated surface, a round surface, and the two kind of fit on top of each other in different kind of locations. Just see where you can comfortably rest your right hand onto your left shoulder, and see if you can rest your right arm, or if your elbow is like sticking up towards the ceiling, or if you can rest your elbow on your chest. Just see how can you make yourself comfy in this position. Feel your breathing. Just like get aware of what's happening in your chest. When air comes in, the chest needs to expand somewhere, somehow. And you can just rest your arm, or notice how much effort it takes you to have your arm in this position. So I notice I'm looking at you, so I have my head turned towards you, and maybe you have your head turned towards me. So we're looking at each other. But what this does is it turns the head, obviously, in combination with your arm. So maybe have a look at the ceiling. So instead of having your head turned, look at the ceiling and see if it takes you any effort to arrest your head in this position. Then bring your arm down again onto the floor next to your torso and take a rest. And then we make a second approximation, the same thing a second time. So please again bring your right hand onto your left shoulder and see how it is when you do this the second time. You could put your hand actually anywhere close to your left shoulder, on your left upper arm or your left neck, anywhere is fine really. Just we want to have this tendency. So for the next movement is to slide your right hand downwards onto the floor, to the left, towards the left. So your right hand down the left shoulder to the floor, so your fingertips can touch the floor, and further to the left, and just see if you can slide your hand a little bit on the floor. And of course, this is a lot easier when you let your head roll towards the left. So you can bring your right shoulder off the ground and reach further to the left. Reach to the left and just see where you can go easily. Don't force it. Don't start to hold your breath. Just breath easily, just normally, like you would do when there would be no task, nothing else to do, and just slide your hand to the left a little bit, back and forth. Take out any expectation, anything like you want to achieve, just the movement of sliding the hand towards the left, more and more, and less. left-ish, and then let your hand slide back over your chest onto next to your hand, next to where is it? Is it the pelvis? Somewhere on the floor. Let it drop. Wow. I am having this experience of being on the floor now. Okay, now where to go from here? Let's do this one more time. Your right hand onto your left shoulder, and then sliding your right hand further to the left, but instead of having the left hand just rest there with nothing else to do, bring your left hand onto your right, in the area of your right armpit, somewhere over your chest. So it's like a self-hug, or your left hand from below onto your right shoulder, or like see where are your ribs on the right side. Use your hand to see and feel, and then eventually also help with your left hand to turn your chest, to lift your right shoulder, so you can so the left hand can support the right hand in sliding towards the left. Just explore with your left hand, maybe your chest bone, sternum, is it? And your ribs, and the turning. Again, right to the left. And slide your right hand towards the left. And use your left hand to support the thing, the task. And then we limit the time and come back. Bring your arms, slide your arms back like lazy wah on the floor. Boom, let everything fall. Just rest. And have a feel, how you feel. Check in. How does that feel? Being on the floor, and then please bring your right foot to stand. So your right foot is standing and your right knee is pointing towards the ceiling. Please do that. Bring your right foot to stand. Stand your right foot. So the right foot is standing. Your right knee is pointing towards the ceiling. And keep your right knee towards the ceiling. And start to press down with your right foot against the floor. So there, I have already a couple of videos about this movement. So when you press down your right foot, more and more, it's not like your whole body should, don't lift your pelvis. Just you press down with your right foot against the floor, and the rest of yourself should be relaxed, easy, resting on the floor. So when you push, maybe you can use your right buttock muscles to like help, like it's a training, a glute training, glute activation training. So actually, so if you think in mechanics, when you push down with your right foot, your pelvis will roll towards the left. It will roll, let it roll and bring it back. So actually it's a hip joint opening if you keep your right knee towards the ceiling. So that's the only thing. The rest of your body can be resting or lazy or moving along. You support the movement with all you got, with your whole body. You support the pushing against the floor. So it's, I could say, roll your pelvis, but we start with the foot. You start by pressing with your foot against the floor, and your pelvis will roll, and come back, and do this a couple of times until you got the hang of it. Foot position. If you have your right foot too far from your pelvis, doesn't make any sense. If you have it too far to the left, if you just think in biomechanical terms, like if you have your right foot in funny places, your pelvis cannot roll. So put your right foot in a place where it's easy for you to push the floor, push yourself against the floor, and make this roll of the pelvis easily happen. And then take a rest after all this pushing. I love this movement. One of my favorites. This is one of my favorite moving. Just this little roll, little by little, more and more, less and less. Just a very comfortable roll of the pelvis by pushing the floor. Okay, let's add all the parts together. So bring your right hand onto your left shoulder. Have your right foot standing. Remove all expectations. It's a new movement. See how your right arm can rest by now on your left shoulder or left shoulder-ish somewhere. Just see, wow. For me, it became again a lot more loose. I can just rest it there somewhere. So it's not even necessarily right palm, just like have your right hand somewhere, somehow. And start to slide your right hand onto the floor towards the left, while of course helping with your foot now. Like after we practice this movement, just push the floor. I have to move the left arm out of the way, so this becomes a nice roll, a nice rolling movement. Roll, roll, roll. So you put all together. So are you pushing first with your foot, or are you first reaching, or are you first rolling your head? So these are all details, and that's why we use so much time, so we can watch these details. When your head actually can travel a lot on the floor, can travel a lot forwards and backwards, if you allow it to happen, if you let your whole body like do what it needs to do to be able to create this movement for you. So you push with your right hand, you reach, you push with your right foot, you reach with your right hand, you can slide, you can roll, and always keep your right knee towards the ceiling. Back and forth. All right, so beautiful movement. We split it up in various parts, and in the end put it together again, so we have the function of reaching for something. Like if your phone would be there and would be ringing, so you could like roll over and grab it very elegantly and then roll back again. So let's add a little bit to it. So instead of reaching to the side, you could reach a little bit further up, or a little bit further down. Let's go with up. So we could turn this into a lot of different lessons. We continue like this: go up, up, up. So instead of reaching to the left, reach up on the floor. Up. Let's see how that feels like. Try to reach upwards. So with the back of your hand on the floor, reach up, and then follow your right hand with your eyes. So you have to turn your head in a way so you can follow your right hand with your eyes when you reach up instead of to the left. Reach up and follow. So you reach up, and my mat is too sticky, so I change it for a blanket. So, blanket. Okay, so reach up, and this becomes difficult with the right leg. So the right leg can support, but let's add one more thing. Reach with your left hand downwards. So you reach with your right hand upwards and with the left hand downwards. And continue looking to your right hand. So the right leg kind of becomes useless for this. I guess. Did you notice this too? We need to change legs. So let's come onto your back first. Just take a short rest onto your back. Okay, then stand your left foot So from lying supine on your back, stand your left foot. We warm up first. Stand your left foot again in a good location to push the floor. Don't put your left foot in a location where it's like ridiculous to push. Just find a good spot where you can push the floor. Keep your left knee towards the ceiling and start to push the floor and practice like this rolling of the pelvis towards the right. The hip joint opening. So do this a couple of times until you can feel, wow, this is working really nicely. And then take a short rest. So we warmed up the left hip joint, the left leg. Bring your left leg to stand again. Your right arm overhead, your left hand, your left arm downwards. So the right arm is up with the back of your hand on the floor. Left hand is down with the back of your hand on the floor. And reach up with the right hand and reach down with the left hand. Follow your right hand with your eyes and push with your left foot so now everything matches again. Everything combined, a whole lot of parts into one movement. So first let's find this movement and then get better at it. Reach upwards. Reach upwards. Follow your hand with your eyes. Let your head do whatever it needs to do. Like in this case, of course, the back of your head needs to move backwards. And then let's add one last thing. So instead of the back of your hand on the floor, put the palms of your hands on the floor. The palms of your hands on the floor makes this a little bit more challenging, even up and down. And if you had enough, come to lie onto your back again. Take a rest on your back. Wow. Just comfortable on the floor, just feel your breath and be comfy. And then check your right shoulder. Lift your right shoulder and see how it is to lift your right shoulder. Should feel much looser, much more mobile, easier to move in many different directions, with or without the head, like independently, just like there. And if it doesn't, redo the video. Okay, so these were my movements I wanted to give you today in this lesson. Like always, it would be nice to continue, have a little nap, but we need to get up. Let's try how it is in standing. So please come up. All right, so you come up, take your time to come up and feel how it is in standing. Easily upright. If you have a mirror, you can have a look in the mirror, or you just feel how it is, how much forward you are, how much backward you are, or if you are in the center. It's easy to be upright, easy to have a head floating on top. And then also let's test the turning of the head. Turn your head to the left and to the right. And when you turn your head, allow like on the floor, allow everything to, I think this is a strong lesson. So a lot of people feel like a huge difference when they came up, because a lot of tension, like habitual tension, is gone and they have a completely new way to stand. So when you turn, allow your shoulders to turn, your pelvis to turn, just like we did a minute ago, 10 minutes ago, and then to the right and to the left. So you probably have to do the same lesson again, but to the other side. All right, I hope you enjoyed this lesson. I have a community on Patreon as of recently. Would be lovely if I could have your support on Patreon, link in the description, where we can design the future of this channel. Yeah, so that's all for today. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.